want to talk about an Atlanta-based documentary that's out right now, shining light on the power of mentorship, especially for young black boys. And let's check out the website. It's for Rogue Elephants. And it explores what happens when positive male guidance is missing and how lives can change when a community steps in. Joining us this morning is Diriki Geuka, director of Rogue Elephants and former president of Emerging 100 of Atlanta. We'll get to that connection in a minute. But Diriki, great to see you this morning. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thanks so much, Dan. Really a pleasure to be on. Thanks to everyone at Living Alive for having us to talk about our important work.
Well, you're welcome. Let's talk about that work. The film Rogue Elephants. How did you choose that name, and what do you want folks to know about it?
Yeah, well, I think something that's really interesting is that I'm a former teacher. And when I transitioned from teaching into the law, I really wanted to find a way to give back. And there's an awesome program here in Atlanta called the Emerging 100 of Atlanta that mentors students at APS Best Academy. I was on the phone talking about the mentoring that we were doing with my mom, actually, and she said, "Wow, it really reminds me of this special that I just saw on the BBC about elephants." And she tells this story about what happens to a group of young teenage elephants when they didn't have a male role model, the destructive behaviors they engaged in, and how a group of conservationists introduced male elephants into kind of their family pack, and all of that bad behavior just went away, and these elephants kind of began reforming their behavior. And I thought, wow, that's really similar to the effect that we're seeking to have through our mentoring programs in the Emerging 100 of Atlanta. And we talked with a few of our members, my then current executive board, and also Daryl Humphrey and Rob Owens, who are the executive producer and co-producer. And we came up with the title for our film because we thought it was analogous to the work we were doing here in Atlanta.
You know, when you talk about the absence of male figures, what are some of the real world consequences of that gap? Not when it comes to elephants, but when it comes to humans.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one thing is for sure. I mean, if you think about a household that has two incomes, children just have a tremendous advantage, right? Because they got two people pouring into the home. That's extra resources. That may be the difference between whether you can pay for an SAT or ACT prep course. That may be the difference between whether you can take that, senior trip to Washington, D.C. or Disney World. It may be, the buffer that happens, a parent suffers a job loss. But then there's also just the diversity of perspective, right? You got two lived experiences going into a child's upbringing, making sure that they are able to really see the world through a mature lens. And in a lot of places where there's a high concentration of poverty, you also have a high concentration of single parent led households. So through mentoring, through engagement, through really trying to bridge and understanding with people from different backgrounds, I think we are coming in and donating that positive male perspective in communities where it oftentimes is kind of under sourced. And we've seen some amazing outcomes from our students. We've seen them go to Ivy League institutions. We've seen them go and get into entertainment and media. We've seen them get into politics. We've seen them work with a lot of the staple corporations here in Atlanta, and we're really proud of that.
Dirike, you have an interesting and unique journey, I would say. You taught middle school kids. You worked in the federal court system, if I'm not mistaken, practicing corporate law now. So you've seen people at a young age. And then you've seen the broader system. How have those experiences shaped your views on mentoring young men so to help them avoid the pitfalls that you've seen?
Absolutely. I mean, I think two things. One, we're all more alike than we are different, and it's hard to hate up close. So when you've been in a classroom with students and seeing just how precious they are, how wonderful they are, and as a teacher, you have all these high hopes and aspirations that they're going to become, everything they want to be. You go to law school, you exit law school, and you work in the federal court system, and you see so many people facing just deleterious situations. Some of it's, their own doing, but you're like, man, I wish I had been able to help this person before they got to this point in their life gets derailed. And now that we have an opportunity as mentors to kind of meet at that cross section, there's about 200 or so members in our organization who are really committed to making sure that no children end up in these bad outcome situations, that we have anything to do about it. And we're really trying to promote them to, attend college, to pick up a trade, to do something that they find fulfilling and productive and that's helpful to other people in society as well as themselves. And that's really what it's all about.
For folks who aren't part of a formal mentorship program, they may not be a part of the Emerging 100. What role do we all play as a greater community when it comes to mentoring some of the young men in our neighborhoods?
Absolutely. Well, I think one thing about Atlanta that's beautiful is I think it's a city that's too busy to hate, right? So just showing a general amount of kindness when you're out on the street interacting with people is incredibly important. Another thing I think you can do. You hear about philanthropy and you think a donation has to be, some absurd amount of money that, we may not individually possess. But even small donations go a long way for making sure that someone who's food insecure has something to eat, or someone who is homeless may get a care package. So you can make a donation. There's also the Big Brothers Big Sisters is an organization that in the Emerging 100 we look up to a lot. Shout out to Kwame, who's the CEO and president of the organization. He does a lot of good work. Anyone can go become a mentor there and make a really big impact in the life of a child. You can support organizations like the Emerging 100 of Atlanta, the Urban League, other groups. They're doing really important work in the community.
Diriki, how can we watch the documentary Rogue Elephants, and what do you hope people take away?
Yeah, so we'll be doing a premiere at Fox Theater on Sunday, February 1st. It'll be invite only for the first premiere, and then we'll be doing a broader release with more details to come. So you can visit the website, sign up to learn more about the documentary Rogue Elephants and the Emerging 100 of Atlanta. And what we want people to take from it is really the importance of community and the importance of not necessarily second chances, but understanding that everyone's journey is unique. People are suffering in ways that we just don't see when we walk around. We bump into folks in the grocery store, at the movie theater. So extend a little kindness to folks, and hopefully people extend that same kindness to you. And I think we'll all have a little bit better go at this one shot we got living if we treat each other better.
Paid up close. I love what you said, Diriki, and I appreciate your time this morning. Please let me know when this is released to a broader audience, and we'd love to have you back on for an update, or at least pass it along to folks and where they could find it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And hopefully you can join us on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Diriki.